So, hello everyone here. Time to talk about Anime of the Year awards, right? It's finally over. It's like 3 hours long, it never ended! I'm glad I didn't do a live reaction of it, seriously. People ask me, of course, we used to do My Academia in the morning, right? People ask me, like, we're gonna keep doing the live reaction, right? We're gonna keep doing the live. And I'm happy I didn't, because it started like an hour earlier, whatever, you get my point. It's way too long. I don't think it's like terrible, but it really reminds me of the Game Awards. And everyone complained in Game Awards too, right? That there's just too many music numbers, there's too much other stuff happening. And I don't dislike the actual songs like Jutsu Kaisen or whatever, right? But it's just like, you know, it definitely could be half its running time, probably at best, right? But anyway, I digress. I just want to point it out that that's why we didn't do a live reaction of this team, because I was like, oh my god, it never ends. The winner is Cyberpunk. Spoilers. The winner is Cyberpunk. It's a good anime, right? 10 episodes, of course. You know, I played the game, right? You know what it's about, right? It's about this guy going to the moon and so on, right? I was review reacted with links below for that. I think it's a good anime. Do I think it's the best anime last year? I wouldn't agree with that. But of course, what I'm here for is to rant. No, what I'm here for is to say I understand that anyone takes this seriously, right? So I always roast them every year, right? In the much longer video, links below for that, and the much longer and go over all the nations, right? And of course, this year it is just crazy bullshit, right? Because they don't have half the animes. It feels like they removed the quarter of the animes completely, and as always, they removed the animes they don't own, like Summertime is all right. Sitting here now, I did my top 10, right? My top 10 has like Chainsaw Man, it has Butchie in it, it has Summertime Renter. It feels kinda ridiculous, right? It feels kinda effing ridiculous sitting here talking about the best anime of the year, and I feel like half of my top 10 are not even in this year, right? Half of my top 10 doesn't even exist in this year. Again, I'm not saying Cyberpunk is a bad anime, I'm just saying that it feels so ridiculous talking about anime of the year when we don't have Bleach, Chainsaw Man, Butchie, Summertime, etc. You get my point, it feels absurd, right? So, I just want to get out of the way at the beginning, it just feels ridiculous. But anyway, what more can I say? Well, one thing, and I want to emphasize this thing here, because it's the same thing every year, right? Is that the reason Summertime isn't in example this year is because the Crunchyroll doesn't own the anime. They always try to make it not be a part of the thing, right? It's been a thing for like the last 5 years. That's one massive reason you shouldn't ever take this award system anyway seriously, right? So now Crunchyroll is bought by Sony, right? So now they own that. So it's actually, but also streamed actually in Japan by Sony for that matter, and so on, right? And it's very, very biased, right? And people always say, no, but you know, Kakegurui actually went that season, and then Summertime is only translated to English, but not in this country or whatever. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. Crunchyroll does this every year. Every anime that is not owned by them, right? That is not actually, you know, streamed by them. So Netflix animes, Amazon animes, same thing with Amazon animes, right? Amazon Stripe, and so on. And of course, they're now Disney Plus, right? Animes not owned by them. They always try to make up excuses not have them in the anime, right? Because let's say they have Summertime next year. They probably will, right? They probably feel they have to take it in next year. Okay. Then they have Summertime rendered there, but of course the hype is already gone, right? Because Disney is already going to have it published long before that, right? Which means, of course, that Disney gets less views and less subscriptions, whatever. So it's again, this is why this is a, you know, the Crunchyroll Awards is just an insane thing, right? Because of course, the Oscars is owned by Disney and so on too, for that matter. But most awards are very, very biased, right? But Crunchyroll Award must be the most enormous biased thing that is called the Crunchyroll Awards. But here it's acted like it's the actual, you know, unbiased awards, right? Again, I'm not saying Cyberpunk is bad, but I think it's a good example of it where you're like, okay, it doesn't. It also, in my opinion, doesn't feel like Cyberpunk, how I say it, truly wins, right? If it can't actually compete with some of the other really good anime this year. I think the most popular anime, especially the latest months, was Butchie, right? You know, our beloved Butchie, Hitori Butchie, yeah, Butchie Go, the loner girl, right? Very good anime, I love the anime. And I think that the anime is better than Cyberpunk, okay? So, yeah, I'm gonna be that guy, I think it's better than Cyberpunk. But anyway, you know, if it's weird, right? I wanna see Cyberpunk actually compete against the best of the animes. I digress again, but it feels strange, right? But I think it's very important, and I say it again, it's very, very important to understand that every year Crunchyroll has always tried to not talk about shows like Beastars, whatever. And they always try to put them in the wrong years, or to take it 2 years later and so on. Because even, but they can say, but we did talk about Beastars. Oh yeah, the year after it aired, you know what I mean? So of course, again, then Netflix gets less views to it, right? Summertime, same thing again, you know, less views to it. So it's very, very strange, right? So that's one thing, right? Mushuko Tensei, of course, last year, this is the last thing I say about it here. Mushuko Tensei last year was ignored, right? Because they don't like the agenda of it, right? But also, they didn't own it last year. So they refused to have it in any of the nominations that won, right? Even though everyone, I feel like the people were voting for it like crazy. They also cheated on the voting with slime and so. It was ridiculous, right? It was ridiculous. But this year, then, it makes even less logical sense. Because Mushuko Tensei is in this year because they now own it. And they changed the whole fall thing and so on. Yet, why is it animated? Because I would say potentially it's much better than Cyberpunk, okay? Mushuko Tensei, I think, is better than any anime probably they had last year. Right? In my opinion, Mushuko Tensei is probably the best anime this year too, if it's, you know, counted, right? Which it isn't, but in their rulebook it is. Yet, it's only nominated for one category. So, a very good example of how nothing here makes any sense, right? But anyway, let's go into the actual list, which is rant. But I put out, again, Mushuko Tensei being allowed into this year, which is logical, but now that's the rules, right? Why is it only in one category? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And of course, it's going to win probably because people, it's like the ad year before, right? It's just, everything is, I can't believe anyone takes this seriously at all. For the last 4 or 5 years. Okay, as an example, I'll always put it as an example. I'll take a title. I don't dislike Historia. I think it's one of the best titles, okay? Then I think it's sad that basically Ishiyama stopped caring about her, the last like 5th chapter, whatever. I like the Historia Ymir storyline, right? However, Crunchyroll took it 3 years after it aired. It didn't make any sense, right? So Crunchyroll took them as the best love romantic couple that year, but it actually was like 3 years after. So it aired in season 2, and then season 3 years later they're like, hey, remember this love couple? Let's nominate them. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't happen that year. So they just do whatever. It's never been a logic at all. Okay, but let's go to the list. But it's never been had a logic. I'm always just like, nothing makes any sense to Crunchyroll. So I had to wait, right? I got the list here, guys, on any trends. Because, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and, you know, wait. And like I said, I'm happy I didn't do the whole reaction right over it because it took forever. So here we have the list, guys. I'm just gonna do this thing, right? Hopefully it's readable. Let's zoom in a bit. That's better. Yeah, okay. So this is the list, right? This is the updated list. As we had, Cyberpunk wins. And I think that Cyberpunk, again, I think it's a good anime, right? I think it's a good anime. Do I think it's better than Chainsaw Man? Nah, not really. Do I think it's better than Butchie? Definitely not. Like, Butchie is much more unique and different and so on. I think that, you know, one thing I'll say is, I don't want to come off as a Cyberpunk hater, right? Because I do like the anime. And, you know, I reviewed it, I reacted to it, I really like the anime, right? And, you know, I'm a huge Studio Trigger fan. You know, Kill la Kill, etc. Right, you know, I'm a huge fan of their anime. I've always been a very big supporter of, you know, 02 is the one. You know, I got both a 02 shirt, I got a 02 figure, I got a Kill la Kill figure. You know, I've always been a big fan, right, of Studio Trigger. So I'm not against like Cyberpunk, but it does feel that it is silly again. It does feel just silly that we have so many. Some of the, I think, just one big issue, right? Generally speaking, is that some of the best animes, like most of the best animes, actually aired in the fall, right? There, of course, is kind of random, this is how it happened, but you know what I mean? I felt like 5 out of the 10 best animes all aired in the same season, which made, of course, last season really crazy. This season, for example, current winter season, is not at all, not even comparably as good as last season. No, last season was really good. They had so many really good animes, right? And I think more people agree with me that last year was fantastic. The last, of course, months then. Which here is like, so that's why it feels so weird too, whatever. So, okay, it wins. Cyberpunk wins. Then we have Best Action, Demon Slayer. I think this makes sense, absolutely. It's beautiful. I said that too in the longer video. We talked about all the nominations. I think this makes, you know, yeah, Best Animation, Best Action. I mean, Demon Slayer looks fantastic, right? We can discuss the storyline, if the characters are likable or whatever, all stuff, right? But these two, I said the same. I said it when I talked about in my longer live stream, the 3 hours, right? I think this makes perfect sense, right? Yeah, Demon Slayer is definitely the best looking anime last year. Yeah, it is, right? The fights are amazing. Of course, we have the next is coming next month, right? In April, right? Yeah, so on, and the movie, so on. Yeah, I mean, Demon Slayer is fantastic visual masterpiece, right? So when it comes to action and animation, it absolutely should win, and I think that is fair. I think it absolutely is accurate. Best anime song, The Rumbling, we just had yesterday, Under the Tree, right? I reacted to that, forever link for that. Also, I probably agree, it's what I said, right, in my longer stream, when we looked at Domination. I do think that The Rumble, I do think it's the best opening probably last year. There's some other good openings, but it is probably my favorite opening as well. So this is kind of what I just, But I also expected it to happen, right? It's very popular anime. But yeah, The Rumbling from Sim is really, really good. It is fantastic. It is a really good opening. So I think that's absolutely fair. Best character design. I don't think that is fair. I mean, this is a category that I also want to mention again, right? Character design to me means more than just visuals, right? It means the lore, it means the personality, it's gonna fit in. For example, I don't understand people hating Hortensia in Fire Emblem. Hortensia is the best design of Fire Emblem because she looks exactly like she is. I mean, that's a good design. I think, Tablet Sensei by Clover is a master of character design. He makes character looks and feel perfectly. Like they act like they look and so on. It makes sense, right, how they act and so on. I don't think Demon Slayer has bad character design. But is it the best character design? I don't think so. Not the way I define the word character design. You know what I mean? So that's why I always felt that the category is a bad way to look at it too. Because, for example, Yodio has really good character design. You know what I mean? That's a real... Yeah, because in the end, again, I like Demon Slayer, but aren't they mostly just like badass samurai? I mean, it's kind of like, Yodio samurai. That looks way better. So, I don't know. I think it's a very weird category. And I feel people always kind of misunderstand it, and I think judges are too. Where I feel like the way I define it, right, is not the way some other people define it, and it's kind of like up and down, and yeah, it feels like a muddy category because they're not really like talking about what do you mean? You mean the visuals? Do you mean the whole backstory? Because if you're talking about lore and so on, then One Piece should be there, right? With like a good backstory. It's important for a character design. You need to have like an actual motivational backstory. And I don't mean to have that sad backstory, right? But you need to have to understand the character, sympathize with them or whatever, right? Not necessarily if they're evil, but you get a point. You need to understand them, or you need to have some kind of like introspective of the character and so on to have good character design. And I think actually, I don't know who should win, but you can point. I think it's a weird category. Best comedy, Spike's Family. Isekai Oji-san, definitely I think funnier. I think Spike's Family is a better anime. Isekai Oji-san. And I have I'm sorry, Adia. But I think that Isekai Oji-san, this is kind of like when I talked about Nagatoro last year. Nagatoro, I think, is a better comedy, right, than most animes. It's really, I mean, I love Nagatoro, of course, reaction today. I love Nagatoro, I think it's really funny. Do I think Nagatoro is the best anime ever? No, but in a comedy aspect, it's really funny. Isekai Oji-san then, of course, last year, I think is probably the funniest anime right now. I think it's fair that Isekai Oji-san probably is a little special, and also had a lot of production issues and so on. So I do understand people probably didn't vote for it for many reasons why. And again, Spike's Family is in my opinion, a better anime than Isekai Oji-san. I have my Anya here, okay? Anya is my little daughter, okay? So in one way, I think it's yeah. But that's what I mean. I think that, again, Spike's Family is a much better anime than Isekai. And I like Isekai a lot, but I don't think it's as good as Spike's Family. But Spike's Family, it has other stuff. It has wholesomeness and so on. It's more like a beautiful, sweet family anime. Yeah, where Isekai is just comedy, right? But that's what I mean. Which anime do I laugh to the most? Probably Isekai. But what anime do I cry to the most? Well, definitely Spike's Family. So, I think it's, again, one of those weird feelings to it. But anyway, it is probably the second best comedy, though. Then we got one continuing series for that category. Oh, whatever. Yeah, sure, One Piece. It's like continuation series. I guess One Piece wins that. Yeah, was that a category even? I don't remember that category. Like, yeah, sure, why it wins. Best director. This is also a problem, as always, right, with this with the categories. They have way too many. Yeah, they have like 4 or 5 animes almost. They have like Demon Slayer in every category. I think that's one. Yeah, so the director wins there. I just feel unfair because isn't he directing like a movie mostly? So yeah, it's a little weird. Like the whole, it is strange. Best drama, I wouldn't say it as a drama really. Is that the categories in? And yeah, I said that, didn't I say that in the longer video, in the longer stream? That I felt it was weird that they had several animes kind of in. They had animes in categories that didn't make any sense, as always. I don't know. I don't think it was the best drama. Drama feels so undefined, right? Again, an undefined category. It's more like a thriller. It's also an action anime, right? Is it that drama, really? I guess it was kind of dramatic. It's a dramatic anime, right? But you know, drama for me is something more like relationship. I don't know. It feels like a very, again, it's a genre that is too undefined, I feel. But whatever, sure. It is dramatic, but it's more thriller, right? Next thing, best anime sequence. You know, I do really love this. Yeah, it is probably the best sequence. Of course, Spike's family's first ending. Jen Hoshino, I like his music. I listened to a lot of his music before as well, right? It's not his best song. I don't think Comedy is his best song. I think his best song is... Oh, what is it called now? To show my nerd level. Oh, what is it called? And he's like... I can see it in front of me. He's like flying around in a yellow suit and he's dancing and he's also flying around this like water jetpack thing. And he's like... That's what I'm going to copyright here. Oh god. I can see the front of me. I can see. I listened to it so many times. I don't remember the name is. But it's something like... Oh, it's like a love or something. It's something very simple. Most of his titles are very simple. It's like comedy, perfume, love, and so on. Yeah, it's only one word. Yeah, it's like... God damn it! I'm gonna I can find it afterwards, but it's something like that. But yeah, I do love this ending. It's very, very good, right? And not only the song, of course, but actual visuals and the dancing on the table and so on. Yeah, it is a very, very good ending. So that feels quite like that feels definitely probably the best. Best fantasy? Come on, that's bullshit. It's not even a fantasy. Sorry, there we go. I'm spoiling this one, but yeah, best fantasy. No, it's not even a fantasy. Mushuko Tensei is definitely a better fantasy. I don't even think it's a fantasy. This category never makes any sense. It's not even a fantasy. It's an action anime, isn't it? It's not action. What is a fantasy? They're fighting like vampire zombies in Japan. I mean, I guess it's somewhat fantastical, but. You know what I mean? Is Demon Slayer even a fantasy? I definitely would not call it a fantasy anime. I think it's really stupid to have it there. I think Mushuko Tensei is by far the best actual like fantasy. Fantasy for me, you know, is like elves and dwarfs and so on. Yeah, mostly. Yeah, I don't think Demon Slayer fits in this category at all. It's more like historical. No, but it feels weird. It feels really weird. But yeah, the next thing there is best film. Jujutsu Kaisen. That is probably accurate. Very, very good movie, of course, Jujutsu Kaisen, the before storyline, especially when Maki was badass, yeah, Maki scenes. Now, I mean, it's a very, very good movie, it's a fantastic movie. Now that being said, it was actually released, I believe, in 2021, though, so, again, Crunchyroll being wrong, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that movie was released, like, Christmas Eve, 2021, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure on that. It was like Christmas Eve, 24th December, Christmas Day, something like that. So that is incorrect, of course. Shouldn't even be in this category. But oh yeah, they had to because I always roasted them for this, right? They had to change protagonist and antagonist into main character, yeah, which is really stupid. Which is really, really stupid in many aspects because they themselves could never understand what the word protagonist means, right? Like I was saying that. But best anime main character then, as Eren, I think that's very incorrect. I think Eren's a very good character at all. But if we just first this thing, I said this earlier in year 2, and it's very stupid because best antagonist is a very important category because you can have a character, right, that is like a really terrible bad guy, and that is very important for a lot of animes, right? Especially, you know, more action animes. You can have an anime that is basically not a very good anime, to a point, like it's decent, but then you have this amazing bad guy, right, that makes it really, you know, push it up to the limit. Oh my god, this bad guy is so interesting. So, this is shonen shows, right? Can have some arcs that are much better because the bad guy is like, whoa, this is sort of well-written bad guy. His personality, his backstory, this and that, you know, point. So removing the category of best antagonist is really stupid because, again, the best antagonist is a huge important part, right, of especially a lot of shonen action shows, but also, of course, other genre as well. This, of course, is true for most, most movies, right? Yeah. Most movies that has any kind of action to them, right? Whatever, Spider-Man, Deadpool, whatever, yeah, but yeah. All the movies, the comic books with action, right? More or less, the main bad guy is very important to push it up to that next level, right? Or the main bad guy can save, you know, an otherwise kind of mediocre movie, an anime, whatever, can be really good. So, in my point. So I think it's very dumb to remove that. And the only reason they did it because they always had the stupid thing with Eren being in both and so on. Not about Eren. I think Eren is not a very good main character. Right? I think Eren has tremendously annoying features, right, for the first like 2 seasons. He's dislikable, annoying, you know, bratty, kind of dislikable main character. And I really think that Eren has never really carried the show until this season. So it is interesting because this is the season where he is the best main character of he ever was. Because this is when he shows his evil, and he's like, the rumbling, and he's actually controlling Zeke and his father and so on. So in that sense, you know, that Eren, this is that season where Eren actually shines as the character because he's completely a new person. Yeah, but that's kind of what's weird too, because I think that I don't think he's a very good main character, right? Because you have to look at it. I don't like how they're doing it here, like final part 2, because I'm looking at it from the whole, from chapter 1, right, chapter 137, and he's a terrible main character for like at least half of the chapters, and I think he is. He's a very dislikable main character, right? You know, in badly written main character in so many aspects. And then suddenly he basically becomes a new person, right, after the time skip, which is of course what he's referring to. So again, yes, he's a much better character after the time skip, but is that fair to say that he's the best main character? I don't think so for a second, right? Because I'm looking at it from the whole spectrum. I probably think that the best main character is Butchie. Yeah, Butchie is easily the best main character because Butchie, she really carries her anime. It's all about her, right? She's a much better main character than Eren in many aspects. But yeah, I think Butchie is easily the best main character. For example, let's say that you can always think about an anime and say, could I remove the main character? How much would that affect the storyline? And that's why Eren is not a very good main character, because if you remove Eren completely from that season, of course it doesn't really work, because he's the main bad guy, but he's not really the protagonist, right? I talked about earlier, yeah, he's not the protagonist, right? After the time skip, Gabby becomes the protagonist, and then it's kind of a little bit Reiner, a little bit Mikasa, and then kind of Gabby again, and then it's kind of like Armin or something. So just that alone, that he stopped being the protagonist, and he's actually used the antagonist instead. He doesn't even have that much screen time at all. He has like 2 episodes when he's like in the screen time. It doesn't really mean he's the best main character. I think Butchie, instead of being the center of her anime, being everything revolves around her, right, is a much better main character. Eren is basically this evil, twisty guy, right? Again, he's an antagonist. He doesn't have that much screen time. He's not even in half the episodes, basically, not even that. He's probably only like, he's in a very few episodes in that season. Yeah, he's not that. Basically, he's the antagonist that starts the rumbling, right? And he has like 2 episodes about him. Yeah, it's a terrible pick. It shouldn't have been, but it's just the mainstream bandwagon thing. And I think that's from a narrative standpoint, people never understand what this word means, right? That's why they could have to remove, you know, antagonists or whatever. Best new series, I think a terrible category again, right? But then we have like Chainsaw Man, we have Butchie and so on as well, right? That being said, sure, I think Spike's Family is an amazing best new series. And of the animes you could pick, it definitely probably was the best new series of, you know, not the full year. Half the year of anime, yeah. Half the anime year. Well, yeah, one thing's very weird too is that, oh yeah, I remember. One thing is really dumb here, I remember now, is that this Spike's Family is not the second cour, right? That shouldn't count. It's only the first cour. So, for example, you couldn't vote for like opening 2, I think, of Spike's Family, and the best part of Spike's Family probably happens in second cour. So it's really weird, because this is why it's so incredibly stupid, right? Because the judges, do you think they only see the first 2 episodes of Spike's Family? Do you think people that voted later on the internet only saw the first? No, of course they didn't, right? Of course everyone watched Spike's Family, all of the episodes, right? And then you voted, yeah. So it was so dumb too. The Spike's Family did air in the fall, right? But you shouldn't actually be allowed to vote for that. You shouldn't be allowed to vote for like half Spike's Family, right? So Spike's Family is going to be the next year too. But think about it from a mental standpoint. Everyone that's voting has seen all the episodes, right? They haven't only seen the 12 first episode. It's an incredibly stupid thing. And then we also have best opening. Did we really have that? My god, this is so stupid. It's so redundant. Why do you have 2 categories? What's the other category called? Best anime song? Yeah, I remember this now from the live stream. Yeah, this is completely stupid. Why is it 2? Why is it, you know, why is it 2 seasons of that? Yeah. Why is it best anime song and then it's also opening and ending? That is just stupid. That is just dumb. Right? This is very, very dumb. It definitely shouldn't have been. It's just really dumb. Right? I'm not saying it shouldn't win it. I'm just saying that it shouldn't be the order. I mean, there's no point having this category for the other category. It's more like this character should be here, best opening, but this category shouldn't exist. It's completely redundant. Very stupid. And then I guess they shouldn't be allowed to be in both categories, because if it's best anime song, it's just a mixture of ending and opening, right? It would be like insert song or something, would be interesting, yeah. If it's like best insert song, that would be more interesting. So incredibly stupid category to have. Then it's over now. Best new anime, Lycos Recoil. Probably from best original anime, yeah, not based on a manga or anime, yeah, probably. But this doesn't make any sense though. Well, I guess Cyberpunk doesn't count because Cyberpunk is a game. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, it probably wins that. Well, yeah, now I remember. This category was really weird. You only had basically like really F shows that no one cared about. Plus, yeah, it was like 5 nominations of shows no one ever seen and talked about, and then Lycos Recoil. It's like Lycos Recoil by just like, I mean, again, I love Lycos Recoil. I love my Yuri Gun Girls, but I'm just saying that the other picks you could pick here was a joke. Yeah, it was like Lycos Recoil, the only good anime, was like 5 absolute like whatever mid animes no one saw. Yeah, it's like 5 mid and 1 good anime. It's like, yeah, I wonder who's gonna win this category. That's best romance. Yeah, Kiyosama or Marin-chan. I do feel it's unfair again, right? The stupid rules here, because this isn't season 3 plus a movie and OVA and so on. It's kind of unfair, but they go ahead the kiss scene and they had the whole romantic scene, so I think it probably should win this thing. But I think from a new standpoint, Marin-chan is probably better from only 2 episodes as a romance. Best score, yeah, it's always the same anime every goddamn. And yeah, they also changed the best girl and best boy and daughter. Instead they put a supporting character. And I guess Anya is a really good supporting character, but she also arguably the main character? Yes, I don't Lloyd is but I think that again, this category doesn't make any sense, because I would argue that Anya is the actual protagonist. Half the screen time is from her perspective. She's probably even having more. In most episodes is either from her or Lloyd's eyes, right? But she probably actually has the most perspective, because Yor also has some perspective. So Anya is probably actually the main character of Spy X Family and not actually Lloyd, I think, from an objective standpoint. So again, stupid. She probably should actually be there. She probably should be the main character instead, because she's probably more a main character. I'm very literal here. Then I guess I don't care about. Oh yeah, Yuki Kalyu wins. He barely spoke even it. Yeah, and yeah, of course Anya wins. Protect Anya. So that's the category. What do you guys think? I think it is an issue, of course. Crunchyroll, as always, is that every year, right, they basically only take the same few animes. So Spy X Family, Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer wins like all categories. It's really boring, right? And I think a perfect example of that is the comedy section, actually, right? No, again, right? I love Spy X Family, right? Anya is my little girl, right? Anya is my little daughter. I love Spy X Family, but I don't think it is the best comedy. I think the perfect example here of how they can't really distinguish, right, between like a good anime that's good in several categories, right, and the trending best fantasy Demon Slayer. Yeah, super. Yeah, it should be more focused on, you know, what is actually good, right? What is actually good per category. And instead of having these animes in every category, it should be much more clear that this is a good comedy anime from this category, right? And I feel, for example, again, then, right, if you had a category, the category should be way better sorted out. I don't know, it's just stupid. But again, who actually cares about this thing? I don't know why I did this video for. People asked me to do it earlier, I guess. Yeah, I'm a sucker. Yeah, people asked me earlier to please do a video. Earlier, during the My Academia, people kept asking me, please do the roast again. Okay, fine, here we roast again. But it does feel, yeah, without half the good animes, right? Without Summertime, Chainsaw Man, etc. Yeah, without half the animes, why should I care? Mushuko Tensei should be in more categories than, right, if you're gonna count that season. The Spy X Family doesn't make a lot of sense, because Spy X Family actually also aired during the fall, yet it counts, or I mean, it was only half count, but like I mentioned earlier, of course every judge and every voter has seen all the episodes, so that's kind of unfair, because you're comparing like Spy X Family to, for example, let's say Marin-chan, right, and she only had 1 season. Spy X Family basically has 2 seasons, but according to the rules, only 1 season should be counted for, but of course everyone has seen both seasons. You know what I mean? Like, it just logically doesn't make any sense, right? It logically doesn't pan out whatsoever. And also it feels kind of weird that Cyberpunk could win Best Anime, but it won like nothing else. Yeah, it didn't win anything else. I think actually, if you can have Best Song, you could do that. Yeah, if anything, Cyberpunk should have won this thing then, right? Because it actually had a very good insert song, you know, the Going to the Moon song, the sad song when it dies. Yeah, the really sad song that plays when they die and so on. That is probably the best like insert song. Cyberpunk should probably have won this category, and of course Rumbling could have won best opening. That's what I mean. This category is really stupid. It should have been like, you know, best insert song. Best song isn't an opening or ending, right? You know, the one when it's really sad and they're flying up there. And you know what I mean? I assume people have seen Cyberpunk, right? So you know what I'm talking about, yeah. The super sad song Cyberpunk. I can't remember the name of it now, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I listened to it several times, yeah. It's a very good song. And that isn't an opening. That is played during the episodes, right? That would be the perfect best anime song, as an example of the insert song, right? So, not to make much sense here. But it is, again, I think it's very common for Crunchyroll that the winner usually doesn't, yeah, like, why isn't this winning anything else then? How could this be the best anime, yet it wins nothing? Right? How could Cyberpunk, okay, the only thing that wins is the English voice actor. Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, I don't hate Cyberpunk at all. I'm just saying that, how can Cyberpunk be in the best anime of the year, yet it doesn't win any other category? It lost every category. It lost the drama, and it lost, I don't know, action, directing, or I don't know, whatever it be. Yeah, it lost everything. It lost main character. It lost every category except the best category. It doesn't logically make any sense. And no one cares about the VA, okay? No one cares about who's the VA. So no, it didn't win in any category otherwise. And I think that illogically that it should win then. Again, I'm not saying that it's a bad anime. I'm not saying the Cyberpunk is a bad anime. I'm just saying that logically this doesn't make any sense, right? Because if you're gonna win best anime of the year, you also probably should have, I don't know, best main character, best action. Why isn't Demon Slayer the best anime of the year then, if it wins best animation, best action, and best director? How can this beat it? It logically doesn't pan out, right? It logically doesn't make any sense that they can win when they lost every other category. And this, I think, it's a common issue we have seen in this. Yeah. That all being said, though, I don't think it should have beaten some of the fall animes, but but again, I sort of want to last again. I don't dislike the anime, okay? I like Cyberpunk. It's a very good anime. I'm a huge Zero Trigger fan. I'm just saying that logically, this doesn't make any sense, right? I'm just saying logically, it doesn't make any sense how it could win if it loses every other category. Like it doesn't pan out, right? It doesn't pan out. It doesn't logically come. The conclusion doesn't come up from that, right? You're expected to win some other categories if it's also gonna be the best anime of the year. Anyway, hope you guys the roast video. Subscribe, slap it, and have a great day.